we've got it. We've got the ability to control anyone's minds. And then you'd have to like do these spells. We used to do loads of spells. Because often like a lion would be friends with a goat or whatever.
Yeah, if they were babies together.
Yeah. And like when I was an older teenager, I used to like carry around my notebook. And like if I wanted to impress boys, be like, we should read this story.
Did it work?
No.
I want to start by asking you about the title, which is quite long. It's because I don't know what you mean and what you don't. What does the title mean?
Well, it's about the fact that quite a lot of the stories are about people who are really trying to connect with other people and not quite getting there. About people just sort of maybe not quite understanding the people around them or not quite fitting in with them. And also the reason I called it that is because I really love Raymond Carver, the writer, and all his titles are like, will you please be quiet, please? Or like what we talk about when we talk about love. And I was like, this is great. It's like that. Yeah, I appreciate it's a bit of a mouthful. But I also think, it's big.
Yeah.
It's good. It's all over the page. It's beautiful.
And why short stories? Why do you want to write those?
It's something that I always enjoyed doing and always really wanted to do. I think for me personally, I love the fact that you create a whole world and you're going really deep quite fast and then you're out again. Again, it's like about intensity. I love the fact that you're kind of building around this little moment or this small narrative and you're trying to put as much as possible in there. And I also just really love the fact that you basically get to write 16 completely different worlds. You're not kind of focusing on one thing and one story and one character. You're focusing on whatever interesting stories you want to tell. So like what it meant was that half the collection can be about love and some of it can be about climate change anxiety or politics, and some of it's about like parenting, and it just meant that I could have this variety in it that was really exciting for me.
Did it feel different not trying to make it all funny?
Yeah, definitely. In fact, it was really freeing because, you're so bound by like, okay, everything has to be working towards the next laugh and you might have a small amount of time to explain things, but it's tight. And even down to when you're doing a stand-up show, I think I sometimes, in a stand-up show, 3 or 4 times might have 45 seconds where I can be fully in earnest. Like if I have something I want to say about society or politics or my life, I can be fully in earnest. But then at the end of that, I have to be like, oh, so I'm stupid, don't trust me, I'm a clown. And so like with that, it was just so good to be like, no, I can just really focus on what the story needs and where I want it to go and what the emotion of it is. And if the emotion is sad and bleak, I don't have to tweak it. I don't have to change it. Yeah, it was really liberating.
And earlier you mentioned witches, which is one of the early stories in the collection. Have you ever seen yourself as like any of those characters? Have you been interested in that kind of witchiness? Where's that? Tell me about that fascination.
Oh my God, it comes directly from this era of my life. And my friend Izzy, who's a comedian as well, she had the same thing where as a teenager, we were obsessed with Ouija boards. We'd seen the film The Cult. We've seen the film The Craft. The most incredible film for like, and I guess it does put me at a very specific age, but I feel like any particularly woman between about 39 and 45 is going to be like, this film. This is the most incredible film. Because it was about like teenage girls who were very powerful, who did cool shit, and then it had the Smiths on it, so it was like, and we were obsessed with it. And what we used to do is we used to buy this thing called Old Moore's Almanac, which like, I don't even know what it was, but you could buy it from the newsagent, and at the back it had loads of like PO boxes for places you could write off to, and they would send you like pamphlets that were like, how to make anyone fall in love with you telepathically, how to exercise mind control on anyone on earth. And like, I guess they must have been for 13-year-olds, because like, I don't feel like as an adult I would fall for that. But like us, you'd have to send a cheque in the post for 99 pence to this place and then wait for weeks. And then it would arrive and one of you would be like, we've got it. We've got the ability to control anyone's minds. And then you'd have to like do these spells. We used to do loads of spells. And lots of it was just like absolute nonsense that one of us had made up. Yeah, it's weird that we were so into that phase and then we were just out of it. Like, it's not like now I'd be like, should we do a Ouija board? Although I feel like maybe I should, because like it was good times.
There was one other kind of thing that I could be completely wrong, but I got the sense that you like cats. Or you write really
interesting.
well about people who like cats. Which is it?
Well, I do like cats, but I wouldn't say it's like a big part of my life. So, yeah, you're welcome. I get it. No, I do love cats. I don't have any though, but we're getting a hamster.
Are you?
Yeah, it's going to be in a month. We're all so excited.
That's very exciting.
I would love to get a cat, but I suppose once you've got the hamster, you can't get the cat. Can you?
Well,
The hamster would feel very stressed.
this is very, very niche. But account I follow on Instagram, they breed cats, they also breed hamsters and cats, and they seem to get on fine. Don't know how it works
They
anyway.
get on fine.
They seem to get on fine.
Maybe they just bring them up alongside
As
each other.
one, yeah.
Because often, like, a lion would be friends with a goat or whatever.
Yeah, if they were babies together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's
I wish that I do really love, like, you know, the friendships of animals where you think they can't, what have they even got to talk about, you know?
Yeah.
And they're best friends.
Funny
Oh, I'm
story.
really chuffed that you would say that about cats. That just makes me feel good about, like, a bit of the writing I hadn't examined.
And how did you find narrating all the stories for the audiobook?
Oh, I loved it, except I found it very moving. And I was talking to my friend about it, and she was like, did you cry? I was like, yeah, I cried. And she was like, I cry every time. I was like, it was a big deal for me. Lots of them I hadn't read out. And so in reading them, I was like, whoa. And that's when I realised that a lot of them had people being surprised by the fact that they were crying or trying to, like, suppress tears. And I was like, I feel like I need to look into this for me. Like, what does this say about me? It was fun. I enjoyed the process. I found it very intense. And I worked with a director who was really nice. And at the end of the process, I was really like, oh. And then I realised I was like, oh, this is just his work and this is so intense for me. So I was like a bit of a wreck, you know, I was like trying not to cry and stuff. But it was, I loved it. It was exciting. And to read my own book was a joy, the idea that people are hearing me say it how I hope it works. The only one that I was worried about was there's one that's narrated by an older Scottish man. And I really was like, I'll try and do a Glaswegian accent. And then after about 10 seconds, I was like, I can't do this. This is going to make me some real enemies. So that's the only one where I'm like, oh, you just have to imagine I'm an old Scottish man now. Here we go. Yeah, I loved getting to do that. And it's exciting to think of people listening to it.
And you said you'd wanted to write these since you were a kid.
Yeah.
Did you write short stories when you were a kid?
Yeah, I did.
Can you remember any of
Yes!
them?
Oh my God, I can. I wrote one about a cat that used to sneak out at night and go and perform at this, like, cat cabaret.
I knew you loved cats.
Oh my God, there you go. We did have a cat called Cabbage when I was a teenager, and the cat disappeared under mysterious circumstances.
Oh.
It was absolutely brutal. Witches, obviously, but yeah, very brutal. So that must have been it. There's a long thread. But yeah, I did used to write stories, and I remember I got a folder, an A4 folder with pochettes in it. And
What
I
are
used to
they?
write, like clear plastic.
Oh, yeah.
What would you call that?
Like a plastic wallet type thing.
Yeah, but is it not called? Maybe my mum's a French teacher, so she was pochettes. Is it not the word?
I
bet it's not, and I've
probably
just
my
been using it.
ignorance.
Pochettes.
Oh, no.
Well, now we can call them, like, those words, like plastic wallets that you clip in
I know what you mean.
for documents.
Yeah.
A pochette. I used to write stories on my dad's word processor and print them out. And I decided that I was going to write this whole book that was like all these interweaving stories.
Yeah.
And then, like, I mean, firstly, they were terrible and nonsensical. And it was quite like, I think it was like being a precocious and pretentious 13-year-old. It was like all like that. But at the same time, I just really remember like carrying around my document wallet full of all the stuff, you know, and being like, yeah, these are my short stories. I've got 4 of them. They're all printed out, as you can see. It's going to be a big deal when I finish this book. You know,
Just ready to put it on an agent's desk. Like, it's done, it's there, it's all ready
business.
for you.
As you'll see from the pochettes. Yeah, I did always used to write them. And like when I was an older teenager, I used to like carry around my notebook. And like if I wanted to impress boys, be like, you should read this story.
Did it work?
No. It worked once at a debating competition, but I mean,
Okay.
that's the level of nerd
Yeah.
that it
a
needed to
certain
work.
type of boy.
A
That's all
certain
right.
type of boy, yeah. I mean, I say it worked. Basically, they read them and they were like, cool. It wasn't like a romance.
I think I'd probably read it, but I'd be like, he said cool, yes.
Yeah, and you'd be like, what does that mean? What does this mean for the future? Yeah, it's funny. I look back at all those things and I look back at the fact that I did write the odd one, and it's so exciting at 40 to be like, oh wow, this is something I have always wanted to do, and to be able to do it now is like, it's great. It's exciting.
Yeah.
And it means I don't have to run a marathon because I feel like that's what you have to do otherwise. I'm not doing it.
A book or a marathon, are they the options?
That's the only options. And if you don't do one, you've got to do the other.
Oof, I
That's the
better
rules.
get writing.
Listen, get writing or get running. That's your choice.
I know you're writing more books.
I'd hope to. I really do. It's interesting at the moment because I'm on tour for most of this year with my stand-up. And so, in a way, like, I'm basically either in touring mode or I'm in writing mode. So I'm going back into writing mode in the autumn and I'm really excited. And I'm just excited to try and to see what ideas I have and to see what I can develop and see what I enjoy. That's the biggest thrill. Like, I would love to write longer things and I would love to write more short stories, and I just hope that I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for this chat. It's been great.
Oh, thanks for having me. I really, really enjoyed it.